Hello and welcome back. Today we are diving into shadowing practice. Shadowing is a powerful technique for improving fluency. It helps you speak English more naturally and confidently. You will repeat sentences and train your speaking rhythm. We will do each sentence twice for better retention. This method improves pronunciation and listening at the same time. Today's topic will focus on gym life and workouts. If you are ready, let's get started. People are entering the gym as doors slowly open. People are entering the gym as doors slowly open. The gym was already crowded when evening rush started. The gym was already crowded when evening rush started. Music plays loudly while everyone prepares their workout. Music plays loudly while everyone prepares their workout. Trainers had set up equipment before members arrived. Trainers had set up equipment before members arrived. A beginner nervously adjusts weights on the barbell. A beginner nervously adjusts weights on the barbell. Sweat is forming quickly during intense warm-up sets. Sweat is forming quickly during intense warm-up sets. Some athletes were training harder than anyone expected. Some athletes were training harder than anyone expected. The treadmill had been running for over 30 minutes. The treadmill had been running for over 30 minutes. A coach is correcting posture near the squat rack. A coach is correcting posture near the squat rack. People usually stretch after finishing heavy lifting sessions. People usually stretch after finishing heavy lifting sessions. She was increasing weights while maintaining perfect form. She was increasing weights while maintaining perfect form. The floor was shaking slightly during intense deadlifts. The floor was shaking slightly during intense deadlifts. Members have completed multiple sets within short breaks. Members have completed multiple sets within short breaks. A man is breathing heavily after finishing cardio. A man is breathing heavily after finishing cardio. The gym had become quieter as night approached. The gym had become quieter as night approached. Water bottles are placed carefully beside every machine. Water bottles are placed carefully beside every machine. Someone was listening to music while lifting dumbbells. Someone was listening to music while lifting dumbbells. Progress builds slowly but changes become visible later. Progress builds slowly but changes become visible later. Trainers had been monitoring every movement closely. Trainers had been monitoring every movement closely. The atmosphere feels energetic despite long training hours. The atmosphere feels energetic despite long training hours. New members were learning machines with trainer assistance. New members were learning machines with trainer assistance. The locker room had become busy after evening class. The locker room had become busy after evening class. A woman is tracking her reps on phone app. A woman is tracking her reps on phone app. Dumbbells were scattered across floor after intense circuit. Dumbbells were scattered across floor after intense circuit. Someone had already finished a long cardio session. Someone had already finished a long cardio session. The trainer is demonstrating proper breathing techniques slowly. The trainer is demonstrating proper breathing techniques slowly. Gym members were pushing limits during heavy sets. Gym members were pushing limits during heavy sets. A loud sound echoed when weights hit the floor. A loud sound echoed when weights hit the floor. The mirror reflected tired faces after long workouts. The mirror reflected tired faces after long workouts. People usually cool down before leaving the gym. People usually cool down before leaving the gym. He was increasing resistance on the cable machine. He was increasing resistance on the cable machine. They had been training together for several months. They had been training together for several months. A coach was timing rest periods between sets. A coach was timing rest periods between sets. Music had been motivating everyone throughout entire session. Music had been motivating everyone throughout entire session. Sweat was dripping onto mat during final repetitions. Sweat was dripping onto mat during final repetitions. Athletes were competing silently with personal best records. Athletes were competing silently with personal best records. The gym lights were dimming slowly at closing time. The gym lights were dimming slowly at closing time. A beginner had forgotten his towel at home. A beginner had forgotten his towel at home. Everyone is focused on completing their final set. Everyone is focused on completing their final set. The atmosphere was becoming more intense each minute. The atmosphere was becoming more intense each minute. People are adjusting weights before starting next exercise. People are adjusting weights before starting next exercise. A trainer had already corrected several posture mistakes. A trainer had already corrected several posture mistakes. The treadmill is running faster during interval training. The treadmill is running faster during interval training. Some members were resting while others continued training. Some members were resting while others continued training. He had been lifting consistently for improved strength. He had been lifting consistently for improved strength. Gym sounds were echoing through empty hallways outside. Gym sounds were echoing through empty hallways outside. A woman was wiping sweat after finishing leg day. A woman was wiping sweat after finishing leg day. They are preparing for another round of circuits. They are preparing for another round of circuits. Weights had been increasing gradually over several weeks. Weights had been increasing gradually over several weeks. The coach is observing every movement carefully today. The coach is observing every movement carefully today. People were sharing equipment during peak gym hours. People were sharing equipment during peak gym hours. A man had just completed his final repetition. A man had just completed his final repetition. The gym feels different after long, exhausting workouts. The gym feels different after long, exhausting workouts. She is focusing on breathing during each repetition. She is focusing on breathing during each repetition. They were stretching carefully before leaving the facility. They were stretching carefully before leaving the facility. A trainer had prepared a structured training program. A trainer had prepared a structured training program. Music is playing again as new group arrives. Music is playing again as new group arrives. People had already started warming up together early. People had already started warming up together early. The mirrors show progress after months of training. The mirrors show progress after months of training. Everyone was leaving slowly after completing final workouts. Everyone was leaving slowly after completing final workouts. The gym is becoming quieter as night falls. The gym is becoming quieter as night falls. People had been pushing harder than yesterday's session. People had been pushing harder than yesterday's session. A coach was explaining technique during break time. A coach was explaining technique during break time. Sweat had already covered the training floor area. Sweat had already covered the training floor area. Members are now cooling down after intense exercises. Members are now cooling down after intense exercises. Someone had increased weights without proper supervision earlier. Someone had increased weights without proper supervision earlier. The atmosphere is calm after long training session. The atmosphere is calm after long training session. They were comparing results after finishing their workout. They were comparing results after finishing their workout. A beginner is learning correct form with patience. A beginner is learning correct form with patience. Gym equipment had been sanitized before morning opening. Gym equipment had been sanitized before morning opening. People are walking out while discussing their progress. People are walking out while discussing their progress. The trainer had reminded everyone about hydration breaks. The trainer had reminded everyone about hydration breaks. Music was fading as closing time approached slowly. Music was fading as closing time approached slowly. They are finishing last set before leaving gym. They are finishing last set before leaving gym. A man had been tracking his progress daily. A man had been tracking his progress daily. People were celebrating small improvements after long training. People were celebrating small improvements after long training. The mirrors reflect determination during heavy lifting moments. The mirrors reflect determination during heavy lifting moments. She had already planned next week's workout schedule. She had already planned next week's workout schedule. Gym lights are turning off one by one. Gym lights are turning off one by one. Everyone leaves feeling stronger than they arrived today. Everyone leaves feeling stronger than they arrived today. Well done completing this shadowing session. You've just trained your brain to think in English patterns. Even if it felt difficult, your progress is building step by step. Remember, consistency is more important than perfection. If you repeat this practice daily, your fluency will improve fast. Shadowing helps you speak more naturally without translating in your mind. Keep listening, keep repeating, and keep improving your rhythm. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next session.